Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today, this week, I'm gonna be doing a reading vlog. Okay, so as of late, I have been super productive with editing and popping out videos. It's been so great. But I haven't been reading anything. It's mid-February already and I read one book. So to kind of motivate myself to do a little bit more reading, I'm gonna do a weekly vlog. I figured, hey, let's try and see how many books I can get done this week, as many as possible. Ignore the nasty thing. I was also really productive in my household repair work. We just added handles to all of the cabinets and then never mind. Anyways, so I figured, hey, give myself a week. Let's see how many books I can read in a week. I'm challenging myself to be better because right now I haven't read anything. So the first book that I'm going to be tackling in this week's vlog is going to be Foxglove by Adalyn Grace. So I have actually started this. I started it on Saturday. It is now Monday and I have barely read any of it. So I need to tighten things down and just start reading. This is gonna be my first one. And then after that, I don't know what I'm gonna choose. Really, I gotta find something that I'm in the mood for. That way I can stick with it. Hopefully I can get this done fairly quickly. My goal is to I don't know, maybe 5 books this week. 7 would be nice, a book a day. No, that's pushing it. I have to really be doing absolutely nothing with my life to read a book in 24 hours, but I can do it, maybe, possibly. We'll try. I don't know, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But so far I'm a little under halfway, I think I am. Let me see. Yeah, I'm on page 226, which is about halfway because it's 250 pages roughly for the book. So I'm about the halfway mark. And so Foxglove is actually the sequel to the Belladonna series, or to Belladonna, which is the first book. Belladonna follows a young girl named Signa who lost her parents at a young age, and she's been shuffled from household to household of relative over the years. For the most part, all of the people who have taken her in have done it for ill intentions because she is the sole heir to a large fortune and a home called Foxglove. We'll get to that later. And those people have seemed to meet a terrible end. So there's a lot of death that surrounds her. Turns out that Death is actually a person, a hot guy, who has been following her for her entire life. In Belladonna, there's a murder mystery. Death helps her solve it. They fall in love, that sort of a thing. So Foxglove picks up where that left off. And after the events of Belladonna, it picks up right after it left off. After the events of Belladonna, there is another murder mystery to solve, but there is a new character added into the mix to bring a little bit of disorder to things, and that would be Fate. So Fate is Death's brother, and Fate believes that Signa is the reincarnation of his true love that his brother Death took from him when Death killed her. He didn't really kill her, he reaped her because he's Death. Everything dies. So anyways, there's resentment there, there's all that kind of stuff. Fate doesn't want Death to be happy with Signa. He wants to steal her away, and then chaos ensues. It's good so far. It's good so far, except the part that I'm at is where there is miscommunication, where there's some betrayal, where there's some fear, where a character that I really liked turns into an asshole, and that's when I put it down, and I haven't kind of touched it so far because that just annoyed me. It just annoyed me. It's a character that is really the main focus of the first book. She plays a large role throughout the story, and kind of. She's kind of doing nothing for most of it, but she's an important character, and then she's just asshole, and I'm why? So it left a bad taste in my mouth for that, not for the writing. The writing I feel is actually better in Foxglove than it was in Belladonna. And I feel like, you know, the story has better pacing, that it has more intrigue. There's more at stake, I feel like. There's more at stake for these characters that you're invested in, right? The first book, there was a lot at stake, but it wasn't so much for your main characters. It was something that the main character was trying to solve, right? So the main character herself was not terribly at risk. It was someone else's life she was trying to save and solve this murder mystery. In this one, the stakes are high for Cigna and for death. So, but I forgot where I was going with that. But anyways, so this is where I'm at now. It's Monday. I'm going to try and get as much of this read as I can, and then I'll see what I'm gonna pull next. Obviously, I'm gonna aim for books that are sequels that I have not finished, because that's my journey for 2025, is to finish all of these series that I have not finished. There's a lot of them. There's a lot of them. I mean, I've got some series that are from the early 2000s that I still haven't finished. It's a bad look for me, I'm not even gonna lie, but it's okay. I'll get them done, and we're just starting off slowly. So hopefully this vlog will motivate me and I'll get this done. Wish me luck. I just had to kick cats out of my room so I could film, because they were backflipping next to my tripod. It wasn't good. It is a gross, cold, rainy day today, so I am sipping my tea and in my robe, and I don't plan on getting out of it for anything today at all, but that's okay. So it is Tuesday morning, and I am tired because I did an oopsie. Not that terrible of an oopsie, to be honest with you. Kind of like a pride oopsie, like a pride moment oopsie, but it's okay. So yesterday I was reading Foxglove, which is the second book in the Belladonna series. I read the first book when it first came out years ago, and then I never picked up the rest of the series, as I'm used to doing, like as I'm infamous for doing. I started Foxglove yesterday, right? And I decided to make this vlog to keep myself a little bit more accountable, because I haven't been so far in February at all. So I read Foxglove, and I finished Foxglove at about 8 o'clock last night. And then I had to jump immediately into Wisteria, which is the third book in the series. After the events of Foxglove, I needed to read this because I just knew it was gonna be pure gold, and I was not wrong. Like, so far the first 145 pages in, first 145 pages in are pure gold. So without giving too many spoilers, this book follows Blythe, which is Cigna, the main character's cousin, and another character, which I don't want to give that information away because that might be a spoiler. But the two are basically forced into an arranged marriage situation, and they definitely hate each other, and they spend so much time talking trash to each other and like giving each other a hard time. And obviously a romance is developing where they're starting to like be kind to each other and have communication and work with each other and that sort of thing. But the beginning of this book, where they're basically just screwing with each other and fighting, is so enjoyable. Like, it was pure gold, and I knew that's what was to come. It's like obviously foreshadowed in Foxglove, so I could not wait to read this. So I started this after I finished Foxglove at like 8 o'clock last night, and I read until about midnight. So I got to page 245, and I stopped because it moved past like the fighting and the banter and stuff to like the actual, I guess you could say, like conflict in the story is starting to show, and like that's not as interesting. So like last night I was like, okay, well that's enough. I can pause it for now and I'll finish it today. But I loved like the banter and the and the fighting, and all of that in this first half of the book. It's so good. So I'm gonna finish this today, and then I don't know what else I'm gonna do. I might just, I mean, I should be responsible and then read another one after, but I might just watch some YouTube because let's be honest, it's just a gross day. It's a gross rainy day. The temperature dropped down to like 60, like the high 70s, like mid to high 70s, which is beautiful. And now it's just gross and rainy and I don't like it. So yeah, that's it. I'm gonna read this and then see where it goes from there. I might pick something up later, I don't know. But I'm definitely gonna finish this because I only have like 180 pages left. So it should be pretty quick. I should be able to get that done within the next 3-4 hours. So, all right, I will check back in with you when I'm done with this and we'll see how it goes. If I enjoyed it as much as I think I'm going to. The first book was kind of like, right? Like it was good, but like the writing was a little bit, I feel like the writing has gotten a lot better in Foxglove and in this as well. It's keeping my attention more, so I'm excited. Hopefully I'll enjoy this one very much. Okay, see you in a few. You don't like kisses. I put you back to sleep. Okay, so I finished Wisteria. So that's awesome, right? It was super good, great conclusion. The way that Adalyn Grace brought in a new set of characters to keep the stakes high in the story was actually like a good play in my opinion. But I totally forgot that like I finished this one and I never mentioned it to you guys because I finished this at like 8 o'clock last night. So this is Foxglove. It is the sequel to Belladonna. In Belladonna is about a girl named Signafaro who has kind of always found herself in close proximity to death. The people around her often die. Basically, she's an orphan. Her parents died when she was a baby, and she's been pushed around from family member to family member until she was old enough to reclaim her family's fortune and their property. So basically, everyone she's ever stayed with, they've been terrible. It's like a series of unfortunate events, but like gothic poison fantasy. And so as she shuffled from house to house, she ends up, the people who try to take advantage of her as a kid that she's staying with usually meet a sad ending because death is following her. So the story of Belladonna is basically set. She ends up at her uncle's property. Her cousin is sick. Her aunt passed away. And she's just basically there. She runs into a character who ends up beating death. They fall in love. She's trying to solve the mystery, trying to save her cousin's life. She does it successfully. It's all fun and dandy. The second book, Foxglove, picks up where Belladonna left off specifically. And the story continues. Now there is a new character involved. It's not just Signa and death. Fate comes into play. So Fate believes that Signa is the reincarnation of his true love, Life, that death sadly took from him. They're brothers, Fate and Death, but they have like an estranged relationship because Fate blames Death for Life's death. That gets confusing. So Death is Silas, Fate is Eris, and then Life is Mila. So we'll call them that instead because otherwise it gets real confusing. So Eris believes that Signa is the reincarnation of his true love, Mila, but Signa is obviously in love with Silas. There's a whole bunch of stuff that ensues. And then it goes on to, obviously there's like another mystery to solve and someone's dying. There's always someone dying. There's lots of death in this book. And then it brings us to Wisteria. So I can't go into too much detail about the setup for this book without causing a spoiler for Foxglove. But basically Wisteria follows Blythe, which is the cousin that Signa saved in Belladonna. and it follows her story with another character. And I found it really interesting. Like in Belladonna and Foxglove, like the one thing that you have to understand about Death and Signa is that they can't die. So the stakes are kind of low once the characters like just can't die, even if, you know, something, they're Death. Like how can you kill Death? Like that's not a thing. I know the Winchesters did it, but you can't really kill Death, okay? So it's an interesting point that when you get to the third book, like the stakes are gonna get a little bit lower if you're still following Silas and Signa, because they're already in love. They can only solve so many murder mysteries, and the stakes just aren't there anymore. So when we go into Wisteria, it's a really good transition during Foxglove from following like Signa and Silas to following Blythe. And this book brings back the stakes. It brings back, you know, the growth of a romance. Blythe and this person are terribly mean to each other. It's definitely kind of like an enemies to lovers feel. They cannot stand each other, an arranged marriage sort of situation. It is so entertaining. It is absolutely entertaining. Now, obviously there are stakes that come into the story. When I had stopped earlier, which was at page 245, that's when the stakes started to kind of show the head. Like the first 245 pages is basically like the relationship and the arguing and like the enemy kind of banter. And I mean, enemies, they don't like each other. They're not really enemies, but, and then after that, that's when like the conflict of the story kicks in. And once you realize what the conflict is, it's kind of easy to see where the twist is going. So there is a big twist in this story. And there's a detail in the beginning that if you pay attention to it, it's like, okay, well that's kind of important. Let's remember that. And then once you find out what the conflict is in this book, you're like, okay, so that's gonna be the twist. So it was kind of easy to suss out if you're one of those people who pay close attention to the details, which I do. Like that's kind of my thing. Like as I'm reading, I'm like, okay, well, what could that mean? What could that mean? Is that gonna play into something? And that's just how I read. I like solving a mystery even when there's not a mystery to be solved. So the twist was kind of apparent to me early on, but it was still really good. It was still well written. And I'm super excited. Like I finished another series. I checked another one off the box. Now, there is a novella that's coming out later this year. I think it's gonna be like a Christmas special version because it's called Holly. So I'm assuming that it's gonna be like Christmas. But either way, it's coming out later in this year, and then I won't be caught up because I'll have to read that one, but it'll be okay because it's a novella. I'll get through it quick. If it's Christmassy, I'll read it for Christmas. It'll be great. But I finally caught up with another series, so I'm super excited about that. Now, I just need to pick what I'm gonna read next. So I'm not 100% sure. I think I'm debating on diving into Valor or picking up The Hemlock Queen. Those are two that I definitely need to read this month. Ali Hazelwood just came out with that new romance, like Deep End or something like that. I might read that one because I'm caught up on all my Ali Hazelwood. I've read everything that she's written except for Checkmate, but that's not my book, that's my daughter's book. So I might have to borrow that. So if I read Deep End, then I'm also gonna read Checkmate. That way I can, I don't know, that way I can just finish everything Ali Hazelwood. I don't know, it's a lot. It's too many choices. I have too many choices, but it's okay. I'll figure it out and I will let you know once I figure out what I am reading. So yeah, I'll see you guys in a little bit. All right, so I'm doing some editing today, but I wanted to give you guys an update on what I'm reading next because I finally decided last night. I'm actually going to go into All of Our Demise. So this is the sequel to All of Us Villains, which was like one of my favorite books the year that it came out. When did it come out? It came out a year before this one. So this one came out in 22. So All of Us Villains came out in 21. And it was like my favorite book that year that I read. So I'm super excited. Like super excited for this to come out when it was time. And then I never read it. So I've been holding on to this book for 2.5, 3 years. I think it's time that I read it, and then that will be another book that I have crossed off of my book series that I've started and not finished. So that's what I'm going through right now. This one picks up exactly where the last one left off. I'm on page 28 right now so far, so I just barely started it. So All of Us Villains it's a YA series, and it is basically like Hunger Games, but with magic. Okay, so there's magic in the world, general magic, raw magic as they call it, and it is kind of available to everyone. Well, there used to be this thing called high magic, which is like, you know, the really extensive spells where, you know, more than just cooking your eggs or washing your dishes in the morning. Like, it's the stuff that can like really do something, like make you go invisible and stuff like that. And that used to exist for the rest of the world. But in this one town, they have the last remaining vein of like high magic. And they've kept it secret for like generations. And basically the way it works is there's 7 families in this town. They're like the founding families, I guess you could say. They are the ones who have access to this high magic. So every year the 7 family, or not every year, every 20 years, the 7 families choose one person to go into this tournament to represent them. And whoever comes out, whatever family's champion wins at the end, gets the high magic for their family, for the access to the high magic for their family for the next 20 years. So there's multiple points of view in the story. Not all 7. Some of them are kind of side character. They're fodder for the story. But they go into this tournament and it's a battle to the death. So there's several characters and you kind of follow each of them through their progression. Well, I loved the first book. Absolutely loved the first book. It does such a good job of showing different varying levels of villain, right? So you have got like the one family, like Alistair Lowe. He's my favorite character. He was raised to be the monster. Like, he was raised to be that villain. His family from birth trained this kid to be vicious and evil and a monster and to win this tournament, right? That's his sole purpose. And he's not that person. Like, he becomes that person because some things happen, but he's really not. Like, he's that guy who's going to sacrifice to help you, and he's kind, and he has empathy, and he's loyal, and people take advantage of that, obviously. And it kind of changes his perspective. So he's that villain that I love. And then you have like the other ones. There's another girl, her family, they're like the heroes. They're the morally high ones, you know, they're the traditional good guys, but the champion that was chosen was not the character that we follow in the story. It was actually her sister, and she does some pretty villainous things to her sister because she had this idea in her head that she was going to be the champion, that she was going to be the chosen one. She was going to be the one to win and get the glory for her family. So she does some pretty villainous things. So while she thinks she's the hero, she's definitely the villain. And it just follows all those different characters, and it shows that there's more than one way to be a villain, which I absolutely love. Like, I absolutely love the concept of that. And I am really excited. Like, I know I haven't picked it up in forever, but I'm really excited to actually get back into the story and see the conclusion, because it's a really interesting story. So yeah, so that's where I'm at. I'm on page 28. Obviously, I'm not reading right now because I'm editing, but I hopefully will pick that back up in a little bit once I get through some of this. I'm probably only going to edit for a couple of hours and then I'll start reading again. Yeah, I think that's my plan for the day. I gotta get this done because I only have videos scheduled up until Thursday and it is Wednesday, so I need to get another video at least edited and get that scheduled for Saturday. And then after that, I think I'm gonna do a regular schedule of just like every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday have a video out. I don't know. What I should be doing right now is actually like filming a video where I go through like all of the series. I should probably do that. Maybe I should pause my editing for a minute and I should go and look at all of the series that I have started and not finished and kind of make a compilation of that and make a video about it so I can keep better track. Because right now I'm just picking and choosing what the hell is on my shelf. I'm like, hey. But the other night, Monday night, I ran through and I counted every book that I have in my house. It's a little crazy, and there are almost 1,900 books in this house. Now, a lot of them are duplicates. Because I keep duplicate copies of books. My daughter or my kids have like you know, multiple copies of books. Some books are shared between like me and the kids. Like my oldest will also have an entire collection of Throne of Glass, or you know, we all have a copy of Harry Potter, stuff like that. So there's a lot of duplicate books in the house, but it's still a lot. So I don't know, maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll go downstairs and film that instead of editing, but I need to edit. I don't know, maybe I should just read. No, okay, I'm gonna finish editing some of this, then I'm gonna go count series, and then I will read. And then tomorrow, after I've made my list, I'll take my list that I made today, and then I will film tomorrow. That sounds like a good plan. I think that sounds like a good plan. I'm gonna do that. Okay, I'll update you later when I start reading again. All right, so it's Thursday, and I'm about 230 pages into all of our Demise, and this one's taking me longer to read than like Foxglove and Wisteria did, because there's just a lot more words on the page. Like it's about the same length in pages. It's like 200 or 450 roughly, which is around where the other books were, but there's just a lot more words per page. So it's just taking me a little bit longer, but it is very enjoyable. I remember why I loved the first book so much. Well, I mean, I never forgot why I loved the first book so much, but it's just as good. The writing is brilliant. The perspectives, you don't get confused when it jumps between the different perspectives. There's 4 perspectives in this one. I think there was more in the last one, but there's 4 perspectives in this one. And I absolutely love it. So my favorite character in this is Alistair Lowe. He's just, I don't know, he's just that character. Like, I guess he's my favorite archetype. He's like the sad, villainous boy, but he was raised to be a villain, but he's not really a villain. And, you know, he's been betrayed by everyone, his family. You know, one of the contestants in the competition all of the contestants, basically every contestant in this competition has betrayed him. Everything he's doing, and he's doing for his brother. Like, he's just that character. And then you've got Isabel, who, you know, she comes from like a shady family, right? So she just doesn't trust anybody, and she goes back and forth between, you know, thinking she only has herself and being like slimy, like wanting to be like a slimy person, or like doing the right thing. Then you've got like Bryony, who she's the one who still thinks she's gonna be the hero. She's gonna save the day. She's, you know, gonna be all that. Then you have Finley, and Finley is like, he's like your all-American boy, you know what I mean? Like, he's the one who's got the plan and got the idea and got the grades, and then you've got another one that shows up, and he betrayed all of them. He caused all of this drama, and now he has to work with them. It's just, it's a great combination of characters. You know, the way things are playing out is really great. There's kind of romances in here. It's not really a romance story by any means, but obviously relationships develop between the different characters, and I'm just loving it. Right now, I paused before. Clearly some action is going to happen next, so I wanted to pause and just give you guys an update. But I am loving the hell out of this book, and I think I'm gonna wait until the end before I say anything, but I think this is going to make it into like my top 5 favorite series list, which I don't know what I'm gonna bump out, but it's definitely gonna be up there. It actually might already be in there. I gotta think about it for a second. I think it might already actually be there. I know All of Us Villains was like one of my top favorite books of like all time. So I think this is gonna be added in as one of my favorite series. It's just a duology, but still, it's so good. It's so absolutely good. So I'm gonna get back to reading while I have time. I counted last night, just an FYI, I counted last night, and I have 74 unfinished series. That's not counting all of the series that I own that I haven't started. That's just the ones that I've started and haven't finished. 74 unfinished series. I've got way more than that for like series on my physical TBR. This is just 74 unfinished series on my physical TBR. It's not counting like ebooks at all, because there are some Kindle series that I started and never finished. like the Broken Bond series. The only one I have left in that is book 6, but like by the time that came around, it was just pure smut, and I was like, I'm tired of this. So eventually I'll read that one, but there's a few ebook series that I haven't finished. But as far as my physical TBR goes, I have 74 unfinished series, so I need to start checking some of those suckers off. And this will be another one, along with Wisteria, along with the Belladonna series. And then hopefully I will read Hemlock Queen. That'll be another one. I don't know if that's gonna be this week though, because it's already Thursday. Well, I still have Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, but like Friday's Valentine's Day, and then like my book group is doing like a birthday party for someone in the group. My book club is doing a birthday party for someone in the book club on Sunday, so I don't know. And I have to do like my grocery shopping and stuff on Saturday, so I don't know. Hopefully I'll be able to get through all of these, but I'm pretty sure I'll finish this one today. I'm like about halfway through, and it's early. I think it's like maybe 10 o'clock, so I plan on getting through this. I'm quite excited. Okay, so I finished all of our Demise, and I love the series so much. I absolutely love the series. The end of this was great. Now, there was redemption arcs, there was like new relationships built, there was, you know, all that good stuff, all that good heartwarming stuff, the found family kind of feel, like all that, you know, there was a sacrifice, martyr kind of situation. It was all good. Now, obviously it's very YA with like the structure and the themes that followed, as well as like the different characterizations and stuff, but it was still super good. Like I absolutely love this series. I'm so happy that I finally finished this book. I feel like maybe I need to reread the first one again. Not that I forgot anything, but just because of how good it was. Like I might just want to reread it at some point this year. I don't know. I have a lot of things to catch up on, so I'm feeling like there's gonna be a lot of rereads in my future, so maybe I'll wait for another time. But I absolutely loved all of our Demise. So my favorite character in the whole series is Alistair Lowe. And he's like your traditional like villainy character, right? He's the sad boy. He's the one who was raised from a young age to be ruthless and a monster and just win. His family is like of the 7 families, his family, the Lowes, usually win. Basically, every year they have for like generations. There's maybe been like one time in the past like 20 generations or something where they didn't win. And because they basically breed like killers for this competition so that their family can keep the access to the high magic. And there's just not that kid. Like, yeah, he was raised to be a monster and all of that kind of stuff, but he wasn't. Like in his heart, he's not. He's still like this good person. And people just see him as the bad guy. But throughout the story, like everyone's basically a villain in this story. So even though he's like this good person on the inside and like tries to help people and all that kind of stuff, he gets screwed over like left and right because everybody around him is a terrible person. And at some point he's just like, screw it, I'm just gonna be terrible. But it doesn't last very long, and I feel so bad for him, but it still ends up okay in the end. But he's my favorite character. The rest of them, for the most part, I can't stand. Like, yeah, they get their arcs and you're like, okay, I feel bad, or, you know, things shift, but there's a lot of betrayal in here, and there's a lot of like back and forth and like internal conflict, and, you know, all of the perspectives that we get, like they each have their own villainous thing, and in the end, like they kind of all come together for the moral cause, but then you see their families and how their families are the villains, you know what I mean? Like it's just a really cool story, and I love it. This series and Only a Monster are like probably the 2 most underrated series that I've read in the past like 10 years. Like they are so freaking good, and no one ever talks about them. But Only a Villain or not Only a Villain, all of his villains and Only a Monster, like two series that I absolutely love. So this was great. I'm super excited. And now I'm going to pick up Emily Wilde. Oh, before that. So interestingly enough, Alistair technically in this book is a storyteller. Like he's infamous for telling like his monster stories that he was told as a child, and it plays a part into the plot in this. But since he's a storyteller, this actually counts towards my Bard Square on my 2024 fantasy bingo board. So I got that knocked off. I read like half of Teller of Small Fortunes to kind of cover that, because there's a poet and she's a fortune teller, so it's kind of a storyteller. So I thought like enough of that would cover it. But yeah, now I don't have to worry about it because I've got this, which is awesome. So I'm excited. So now I'm on to Emily Wilde's, it's not the encyclopedia, I already read that one. This is Emily Wilde's Maps of the Otherlands, or Map of the Otherlands. So this is the next one of my reads. I figured I'd read this one because I actually just ordered the Fairy Loot edition of the third one this morning. So it's like kind of stuck in my head. So I'm like, hey, let's pick this up. So I will let you know how it goes once I start it. But that's my plans for the rest of the night into tomorrow. So I will keep you updated on what I've got going on next. So it's the end of the week and I've barely got any reading done. I've been reading Emily Wilde's, the Maps of the Otherland, I think it is. It's the sequel for Emily Wilde's. I'm only on page 146, so I haven't really gotten too terribly far in the past few days. It's been a busy weekend. It was a 4-day weekend for the kids, so they had Friday off, Saturday, Sunday, obviously, and then Monday. So I don't generally get much done when the family's home. On Friday was Valentine's Day. Went out to dinner, did some shopping. My husband bought me a new lens for my camera, so hopefully you like it. Saturday, we did some stuff. I don't even remember. I know that there was shopping involved. I know that, yeah, it was a situation. And then my husband and I helped our friends like fix a PC that they have that wasn't working very well. And then I built them a new PC. So it's just been a busy weekend and I didn't get much reading done. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to carry this book over into next week because the week is officially over. So I'm just going to kind of leave it at that. But so far, the sequel is really good. I am enjoying it. Emily Wilde's Map of the Otherlands is what it's called, the proper name. And I have the Fairy Loot edition, which I decided to pick this one up because I had just bought the third one for Fairy Loot as well. And I love it. It's cozy fantasy. It's really like zero stakes, pretty chill. It's in academia. There's research of mythology. And I just love Emily Wilde in general as a character because she's just so like dry and matter of fact. She's extremely intelligent, filled with information, but she's just very like, well, that's how it is. And the male character, Wendell, there's something about him that I can't really say without spoiling the first book, but he is just hilarious. Like, he's that goofy guy, the confident guy that just kind of does whatever, and he's got his little quirks. He's got his OCD that he has to, clean everything, and everything has to be neat, and it's driving him crazy if it isn't. And he's sweet, and it's just such a cute book, and I love it. And I'm hoping to finish it today, but I'm also planning on like uploading this video and getting some editing done. That way I can get this up to you probably tomorrow. But yeah, so I'll probably finish it in the next one. But so far, I'm really enjoying it. And you'll probably have to tune in for next week's vlog to see how much I liked it. But so far, I'm really enjoying it. Which I obviously figured that I would because I enjoyed the first one a lot. And I don't know if it's my favorite, how I love sequels. Sequels are always usually my favorite book in a series. But we'll see how that goes. We'll see if it's my favorite by the end. So it's good so far. In this one, Emily is on a quest to find a fairy door into an Irish fairy court. So she's exploring. It's her, Wendell, another professor in the folklore department at Cambridge, and her niece. So they're all adventuring, and they are in Austria, I believe, in the Alps this time around. They love their cold weather fae in this series. Like they haven't gone anywhere warm yet. for Faye. It's all cold weather Faye. So I mean, it adds to the like nice cozy vibes because it's chilly and then they're inside with like fires and warmth and stuff. So I like it, and we'll see how the adventure expands. See if there's a fun little twist at the end like there was the last one. So, but yeah, that's it. That's all I really got going on. So I'm gonna end this vlog for the week, and I will see you guys next time. If you enjoyed my vlog, which was really short because I used to do monthly ones, but now I'm trying this weekly thing because I can pump them out a little bit quicker. If you enjoyed my vlog, don't forget to like it. It does help me out with the algorithm. And if you have not already subscribed to my channel, please remember to do so. That way you can catch more silly nonsense and me talking about books. So thanks guys for tuning in. I'll catch you next time. Bye.